O que há entre nós e o futuro pós-pandemia? O que há entre a casa cheia e a escola vazia? We had all the advice and alerts, but still the world wasn't prepared. Why not?
I think the reason is that political leaders did not want to spend the money and the political capital to prepare their countries for a pandemic. I think that it'll be hard to go back to the old normal, and I think that that's good because the old normal is a normal that brought us this problem.
We live in a society that's like a very hunger for consumption. We are really threatening the environment. Actually, we have to be aware that like if we increasing the number of hunting, the number of farming and mining, these are threats that can increase the amount and the risk of new pandemics.
So 8 years ago, you warned us about the next big one. Many scientists talked about, there's a famous lecture by Bill Gates telling that it was coming. We had all the advice and alerts, but still the world wasn't prepared. Why not?
I think the reason is that political leaders did not want to spend the money and the political capital to prepare their countries for a pandemic that was going to happen eventually, might happen in 2 years, might happen in 3 years, and might not happen until after their term of office. And I think it was that. They could hear the warnings that this was coming, but the political calculation is, why should I spend billions of dollars on preparedness if this pandemic might not happen during my term of office? And of course, billions and billions of dollars is nothing compared to the cost of COVID-19. But I think that was the problem.
Yeah, that's what we can call short sight, really.
Indeed.
Is it true that Barack Obama has set up, has prepared the states for a pandemic and Donald Trump just ditched the plan?
It's largely true. The story is not quite that simple, but there's a lot of truth in that. Both George W. Bush and Barack Obama were sensitive to the danger of pandemic disease, pandemic threats, both of them. So it's not a partisan thing. It's not Republican versus Democrat. George Bush was good. Barack Obama was good. They could have done more, but they did a lot. Barack Obama had a directorate of response to pandemic threats amid the National Security Council, and Donald Trump began dismantling that and taking funds away from that soon after he took office. Likewise, in the U.S. Agency for International Development, there was a big program. It had gone on for 10 years. It needed to be refunded, renewed. And Donald Trump's administration decided, no, they would reduce or eliminate that program. So yes, Donald Trump has moved in exactly the wrong direction over the last 3 years.
So we're not lacking science, we're lacking political articulation, we could say.
Yes, I would say it that way, although we always need more science and we need more technological developments. We need the vaccine for this. But we could have been working harder to develop platform vaccines that would allow us to adapt a basic coronavirus vaccine very quickly to this coronavirus. We didn't have enough investment in that, and we didn't have enough political will to drive the investment.
Let us include Mr. Stevens Haynes. He's a scientific consultant to our program. Stevens, bem-vindo, welcome. I will mix a bit Portuguese and English, okay, David?
Não falo bem português.
Well, fala muito bem.
But it's okay, you go ahead.
All right. Vacina, Stevens, vacina. Quando é que vem? A gente pode sonhar? É algo que está no horizonte ou está longe?
Bom, Pedro, sonhar a gente sempre pode, né? O que a gente está vivenciando agora é como se fosse uma corrida de cavalo. E a gente tem que apostar. E não dá para apostar só num cavalo. É isso que está acontecendo em relação às vacinas. Você tem mais do que 90 candidatos de vacinas, o que é bom. A gente precisa dessa diversidade nesse momento. E você tem vacinas que estão sendo produzidas na maneira que a gente chama tradicional, através de vírus inativados. Tem outras vacinas mais novas que estão usando outros vírus como se fossem cavalos de Troia, levando pedaços do que seria o coronavírus para ativar, né, o sistema imunológico. E tem uma mais nova que tenta injetar no voluntário, né, no paciente, vai ser a informação para que esse paciente produza aquela proteína do coronavírus para que ele então crie anticorpos para ela, né? Então são essas 3 estratégias que você tem. No momento, ainda o número de pacientes, o número de voluntários que está sendo testado é muito pequeno, então a gente tem que esperar, mas é bom que haja esse número grande de possibilidades de vacinas, porque a gente não sabe qual que vai ter a melhor performance em termos de eficácia e de segurança.
Você tem alguma pergunta que você gostaria de fazer para o David?
Well, I think that I have maybe several questions for David. He's like a very great writer and inspiring author. And I mean, like when you look to the situation of Brazil, what do you think that's going to be the most challenging that you have? Like, for example, thinking about the vaccination, like you are not producing vaccine, we're not developing. We have some possibilities of developing vaccines here, but probably the major ones will come from US or Europe or China. So do you think that's going to be a challenge, for example, for this distribution of vaccine in other parts of the world? Probably there are going to be some kind of a line, and probably we're going to be behind this line. I'd like to
yes,
know your
I do,
opinion.
Stevens,
Like after...
exactly. I think that's a good point. Well, I hope that Brazil will not be at the back of the line. No one knows exactly when we'll have a vaccine or what country the development will succeed in. Maybe it'll be in the U.S., maybe it'll be in China, maybe it'll be in Britain or Germany or wherever. And I take your point that there's not much vaccine research going on in Brazil right now, maybe. But once we have a vaccine, then we will have to manufacture it in quantity, and that will take some time. And during that period of time, there will be extreme pressure as to who gets it first. Healthcare people should get it first, but then after that, ordinary citizens. We need to be careful. Will the rich get it first? That's a bad idea. Will the country that developed it only get it first? That's a bad idea. These will be controversial discussions. And if the vaccine is successfully developed in the U.S., because of the president we have and because of all of this America First stuff, I am concerned that he might say, well, the vaccine, every American has to be vaccinated before we're going to share our vaccine with the rest of the world. That would be terrible. That would be a bad idea.
For you guys, is there a chance of having a vaccine? I'm not talking about distributing it and, providing it to everyone who needs in the world, but to have a vaccine this year?
Well, Tony Fauci says it's possible. Anthony Fauci, the chief advisor to Trump. Everybody knows Tony Fauci now, I guess. He says that it's possible. He can't guarantee it, but it's possible. Now, of all the people that stand up at those press briefings, Tony Fauci is the one that I trust the most. Lots of people trust him in the scientific community. He knows things at this point that we don't know about the stages of development. So maybe it's possible this year. We'll see. I hope it's this year. Stevens, what do you think?
I totally agree with you, David. As you said, like Fauci is have this at least this kind of hope, and it's important. We're living this pandemic speed, so things are a little bit different. There are some shortcuts that you can do in different phases of the vaccine, but odds, they are usually like not more than 4%, right? Even less. And the average of the creation of a new vaccine is like at least 10 years. We have some with like 4 years. So if you have like one vaccine in 1 to 2 years, it's going to be a record. And maybe it's a record that is going to happen. We don't know. But if you think about the history of the vaccines, the challenge is a little big higher.
In your opinion, both of you, what has been China's responsibility on the beginning of this pandemic?
Pedro, I don't think that there is any responsibility of a specific country at the moment. We live in a society that's like very hunger for consumption. We are really threatening the environment, and what's happening with this kind of virus is that like they jump from the environment, from the wildlife, and it's happening all over the world. It's happening in Brazil right now. We're having a huge problem with the devastation of the Amazon, and this is one very huge threat because the loss of biodiversity, and David knows it better than me, it's possible to spread virus from the animals, from the wild animals to the society, to the human beings. So happening in China at that time, happened in Mexico, could happen in Brazil. It's a matter of risk and of chance, and definitely we have to be aware that like if we increasing the number of hunting, the number of farming and mining, these are threats that can increase the amount and the risk of new pandemics.
Would you like to add
I
anything,
agree.
David?
Yes, I agree with everything that Stephen said. It's absolutely important. This is going on all over the world. There is contact between humans and wild animals in extremely diverse ecosystems. As we disturb those ecosystems, like the Amazon, like the Congo forest, like the forests of southeastern Asia. This virus happens to come from almost certainly a bat in a certain area of central China, and got perhaps through another animal into humans. I would say, and so it's not a Chinese virus or a Brazilian virus or an American virus. A wonderful public health official said to me recently, at this point, when we are so globalized, a disease anywhere is a disease everywhere. However, that said, I would say that China is remiss in one thing, and that is during the month of December, as this disease was getting started and the virus was recognized as spreading from human to human, a very important recognition that not only did it make people sick, but it spread from human to human. It seems that Chinese medical people recognized that, and it seems that Chinese political officials in Hubei and in Wuhan held that particular information back for perhaps a couple of weeks. And if so, that was a very costly disservice. Otherwise, this is the whole world's problem, and the whole world is contributing to the ultimate causes of this problem.
Yeah, we can see that the ethical and political issues at the beginning of it and nowadays are almost as important or more decisive than the scientific ones. How can we try to explain the denial attitude that some statesmen and many people still advocate nowadays, at this moment?
Well, it's hard to explain. It's hard to comprehend. Political leaders, and in particular, my president and your president, I think, have led the world in denial that they were elected. We need to educate the public, I think, away from the rumors and the innuendo and the conspiracy theories to the real scientific facts, and to a concern not just for ourselves, but for our communities. And to do that, we must raise those disempowered and disadvantaged people up so there's less disparity, and then perhaps we will be able to elect better political leaders.
Quer falar alguma coisa? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I just like to add that like one other challenge that we have is regarding the anti-vax movement, because even if you have like one very safe and efficient vaccine, we have a challenge that's as David said, to educate people, to do science outreach, for people to understand the importance of the vaccine.
Yeah, I think those anti-vaxxers could move to that flat earth that they believe. If we could sum it up and say what change for good for humankind COVID-19 can bring, what would you say?
I hope that there will be changes for good. There will be a silver lining. I hope that will involve what I said, an understanding that our footprint footprint of consumption is what drives this process. I'm trying to get that message out, and other people are trying to get that message out. I think that once we can hug one another again and shake hands with one another and gather in groups with safety, I hope that we will appreciate the blessing of that more than ever. And I think that will be true. I think everyone misses the sheer physical contact that expresses emotional connectedness. I think we need that back, and when it does come back, I hope we will appreciate it for decades after this experience.
E o mais importante que eu acho nessa situação toda é a questão da preservação da biodiversidade e das florestas, porque essas pandemias, esses vírus, eles vêm das florestas e vêm de uma relação desregrada com as florestas em relação a consumo de animais, em relação à garimpagem, em relação à pecuária. Isso tudo a gente tem que pensar, porque os vírus vão continuar evoluindo, a gente tem que reduzir o risco de novas pandemias. Esse risco acaba sendo minimizado se a gente pensar e justamente usar esse momento histórico para ter um normal diferente. Porque eu acho que não necessariamente a gente quer o mesmo normal depois de tudo que está acontecendo.